Start talking. Hello, ladies. This is Lisa with Take Flight, and I wanted to pop into the Facebook page today to, first of all, check in, do a temperature check, see how everybody's doing. I know this is a really trying time for all of us, and I want to let you know that um, I appreciate each and every one of you ladies and those men who love us for being a part of our Take Flight community that we have here. I'm praying and sending out some positive vibes to all of you guys during this uncharted. This is just uncharted waters that we're in right now. So let's just hold each other up in prayer, uh, in meditation, and just send out positive messages and encourage each other. If there's somebody that is in your, I know we're pretty much all of us are on lockdown right now. So, but if you are able to get out, please check on the people that might need you here in the group. If you think about it, we are in that demographic that they're talking about, the those that are at higher risk, even though they're showing that people that are younger are also contracting this virus. The majority of our group is 45 and over. So, if you're in Tulsa and there's another lady or sister in this group who is also in Tulsa that could use your services, please put that in the comments. Hey, I'm here. I could help you if you need something. Same for Austin, Houston, Dallas. Let's all be there for each other, especially our sisters who are 60 and above. Um, I just hold everybody up, and once again, just want to say that I appreciate you guys being here, and we're going to come out on the other side of this because, honey, we are all women who are resilient, right? Um, we are resourceful, and we are adaptable, and all of that comes from everything we've been through as women in this demographic. So I wanted to come on today, and we're kind of changing our model a little bit as to how we reach you because we're not able to do live events right now. But what we want to do is, from time to time, come on and just bring some wisdom to you via video or live chats, whatever. And so today I want to start by introducing you to Miss Adina Collins. And Adina is with us, and she is a financial expert. And with all of the stuff going on right now concerning this SBA loan and all of the stuff around the stimulus package, I thought it would be good to have somebody who can shine a little light on that topic for us, especially because a lot of the ladies in our group are entrepreneurs and are small business owners. And so there's a lot that we need to know about this package that we probably don't know right now. And I know they're making this stuff up as they go along. So if Adina can help shine some light on this at this point, I thought that it would be of value to you. So I have Miss Lady with me. Adina, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the invite. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak with you and also to be able to speak with the ladies and offer my information and support, whatever we can do.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a blessing to have you with us. And, just a little bit about Adina, and then I'll let her share some more. But she is the CEO of a company called Fortitude Financial Consulting. And so she offers financial coaching for entrepreneurs and for small businesses, helps with tax planning, money planning, and things like that. So she's somebody you definitely want to know as we move forward, not only through this uncharted time, but also beyond, because we are going to come out on the other side of this
Yes.
and get back on our feet. But I wanted to bring Adina on and let her talk a little bit about herself. and give a little bit of history. I know that she spent time in Louisiana, so she's kind of been through something similar to this with Katrina. So I'll let her tell you a little bit about that. And then I want to find out more about digging into this SBA situation. But Adina, I'm gonna turn it over to you right now. Just kind of share with the group a little bit more about yourself and your business, and then just kind of start talking to us a little bit about this stimulus package and how it affects us as entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's all
Sure.
yours, lady.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, I'm Adina Collins. I am originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, and I relocated from Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 2016. And so prior to coming here, I had about 20 years working experience working for the state of Louisiana, about 10 years, as well as some nonprofits and smaller corporations. And so I had the chance to actually become part of the disaster recovery system with Louisiana after hurricanes Katrina and Rita in 2005. And I can tell you it was an extremely eye-opening experience. The first job that I actually had when I arrived in Baton Rouge was working for a Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness consulting firm. And so they actually helped to design some of the exercises actually if Louisiana was ever hit with a hurricane, category 3 hurricane. And so it has definitely been a very interesting journey. Also, I had the opportunity to be able to work with a smaller contractor that assisted Louisiana residents to be able to either get back into their homes or to sell their homes to the state of Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. It was a very daunting situation. That particular program was actually funded by HUD. And so the company that I was working for actually did the quality assurance, quality control component of that disaster recovery. And so as you can imagine, things were kind of chaotic as they are right now. We don't really know a lot about what's happening. We just know that there are monies in the pipeline. Right. And so all I would definitely suggest right now is that everyone try to be as patient as you can and just know that I am going to go ahead and give you some information in reference to the CARES Act, which created the economic stimulus plan as well as the monies that were appropriated for the SBA loan funding. But just remember this about most government. Government is not efficient. We know that. We've experienced that firsthand. However, the monies are coming. It's just that they do very well with creating and legislating laws, but not always being able to implement and get systems out. And so the thing is that the monies are indeed coming. I'm not trying to create panic. The monies are coming, but you have to remember too that more than likely the government's going to need extra help in reference to being able to ensure that there are staffed centers for the SBA loan programs, as well as any other type of centers that they may have, so that residents and regular folks, can definitely help to go ahead and recover. The same thing also with the state offices, whether you are deciding to apply for unemployment benefits and also any type of business recovery. Just keep in mind that any type of governmental entity that you're going to encounter will be able to give you certain information, but it just may take a little bit of time for the monies to be able to trickle through. But again, if you can get your information in, if you can go ahead and complete applications, at least you know that your information is in the pipeline and that you know that you will be one of the next ones in line so that you can begin to start getting those monies.
Right, right. So it makes sense, like you said, just be proactive and go ahead and get your information in as soon as possible. So
yes.
Now I did have a question, and you and I talked a little bit about this, but I think the ladies might want to know. So we have the whole thing about corporations. So we have a lot of people who might be operating as a S corp or a limited liability corporation, but it's only them.
Right.
And so would you recommend that they go the small business loan route, which is that $10,000 route, or should they wait and go the unemployment route, or can they do both? What does that look like?
Well, in reference to if you are operating your S Corp and you are still working, so if you are also a W-2 employee, but perhaps you may have your S Corp or even your LLC, where you are really working more part-time in your business versus completely full-time. I would still recommend that if you have been immediately impacted and if you have either received a drastic reduction in wages or potentially have been laid off from your W-2 full-time job, yes, please go ahead and submit a online application with the Texas Workforce Commission if you're located here in Texas, or with whatever your local Department of Labor, your state Department of Labor site is in your particular state. Because again, you can potentially have eligibility for both. So if you were already working full-time as a W-2 employee, you definitely want to go ahead and file for unemployment. And then also, if you were still operating your business after 5, whatever your cutoff hours were with your business, then yes, why not go ahead and go for the business funding as well? Because again, you may have been eligible for both. And I would rather you not leave any money on the table than leave too much money on the table and regret later on that you could have had, both, but you just didn't think that you would have been eligible for both. So, yeah, I would
Get your
definitely
money.
recommend that. Yes, listen, we know that a certain amount of money had been appropriated anyway with the CARES Act, and so the CARES Act actually created some of these extra fundings. So it was a trillion with a T, $1 trillion bill, which was recently passed in Congress and approved by the president. And so it did several different things. It created the economic stimulus package, which would have been for individual payments to individual tax payers. And so if you previously filed taxes, especially if you filed taxes for 2018, that's what they were basing the eligibility upon that. And so if you did file your taxes in 2018, if you made $75,000 or less as a single person, then you potentially could get up to $1,200 as an individual payment. If you did make over $75,000 but under $99,000, you can still get a portion of that, but your payment may be reduced based upon the amount that exceeded the $75,000. And that's, again, just as a single person. Now, if you are filing married and jointly, the amounts actually go up. And so if you as a couple made less than $150,000, then you would actually be able to get $2,400 as an individual payment together. And then also it begins to phase out a little bit if you made up to $175,000 together. And so the good thing too is that if you have any children that are at home that are 17 years older or less, then people are also able to get an additional $500 per child, regardless of if you're single or married. And so that is definitely something that, is definitely of benefit, because we know that more people are beginning to care for children. Perhaps there may be grandparents or even aunts and uncles that have really been caring for the children, and they have been regularly claiming the children on their tax returns. Then you definitely want to be able to make sure that you are looking into that. And at one point during the bill, they were making certain stipulations that there potentially would have been disbursement regarding digital dollars. So they wouldn't have necessarily deposited funds into your bank account as a direct deposit. They would have said, hey, you have this particular digital wallet. Imagine maybe going to buy something like if someone ended up sending you an electronic gift certificate, right? So you don't have the actual paper certificate in your hand, but you have this proof of email that someone bought you, say a $25 or $50 gift certificate, and it could be used at this particular place. The digital wallet would have been something similar to that. However, that was part of the proposal in the original bill, but the feds have not finished completing all of the technology for it. So more than likely, the individual stimulus payments will come through whatever electronic banking information that you provided when you last updated your tax return, when you last filed that tax return back in 2018. So if for some reason you may have owed, then you may want to consider going on to the IRS's website, which is just irs.gov.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be some resources that are there in reference to COVID-19 or coronavirus information, where people may be able to log in and update their information regarding economic stimulus payments.
Okay.
According to the last information that we got, supposedly, allegedly, purportedly, ladies,
I love all of that.
Well, I was a former internal auditor, so I can't say that they're lying. I can't say they're necessarily telling the truth, but allegedly, purportedly, the payments are supposed to go out beginning April 17th. Now, we know that there's not going to be an immediate flood of cash that's going out,
Right.
but that was the proposed first date that some of those monies, the individual payments, would have been going out.
Well, and that was the electronic payments too, not the paper payments, right?
Right, exactly.
So,
now, if you don't have anything on file in reference to how you can get something direct deposited, there's a very real chance that paper checks may not be processed by the federal government for 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months regarding the economic stimulus. So
that's like September-ish. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw a hypothetical out there. So let's say somebody is doing the paper route or whatever, and they still have to, I know we're saying patience, it's about being patient, but what if they have to do a second stimulus? Because I have a feeling they're going to have to do a second and third stimulus. Will these people be waiting for 2 or 3 checks going into the next year? I mean, how?
That's going to be the most interesting thing, because I too believe that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 additional stimulus bills that will be passed, and hopefully additional stimulus payments that will be available. So my recommendation is, even if you end up opening up a small bank account with a small, whether it ends up being a credit union or it ends up being a small bank that you don't do a whole lot of business with, but it's specifically designated just for this particular thing, it may be better to go ahead and just say, hey, I have a particular bank account, a routing number, and at least I know that I can be in the system, and we already know that it takes longer to process type of payment. It's easy for them to key something into the system and bam, your payments and posting within 2 business days, if not sooner, to most bank accounts. So it may be the best route to consider going there, instead of having to wait for them to sort through all of that mail, which is going to be an additional cost. So whatever you can do to make sure that you are helping them to help you to expedite. Let's do that.
Right. Exactly. So I like that. And, for the ladies out there, you guys that don't file your taxes electronically, or you're not in the system, I love what Adina says about set up a separate account. That way, at least you will have that routing number, and that will get you in the system, and you'll get your funds a whole lot sooner. Yeah,
Absolutely.
If you end up doing 2 or 3 stimulus packages, which, like I said, I really have a feeling, like you do, Adina, that's going to end up being the case.
It probably will be, and I don't think that they had any stipulation on whether it was a checking versus savings account. So if you wanted to open up, say, a smaller savings account and use that as a routing, as the routing number and the account number, that could be something that's viable too. I know sometimes people will go ahead and even put down their savings account when they get a tax refund. So that way they know, one, it's some monies that probably I won't be able to easily touch so quickly, and so that may be something that may be quite helpful to you for that. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's some great information. What else we got going on?
Yes. Part of the CARES Act was not only the direct payments that I mentioned, which would have been the individuals, but then also included the SBA loans, so small business administration loans, which would be available. And there's 2 types that we can go over in just a bit. There were 2 types, and there was approximately $350 billion which was set aside
Mm-hmm.
for those particular programs. Also, the direct payments, which we just mentioned for individual taxpayers, that was approximately 400 plus billion. And
Okay.
then we had some other things such as payroll tax credits, which would have been available to people who actually did employ full-time employees.
Okay.
And then we had just some other smaller things that were included within that. So the increase actually in the unemployment benefit amount would have also been a part of the CARES package. So it would have been the
Gotcha.
expansion of unemployment benefits for states, plus the direct payments,
Mm-hmm.
plus the tax credits, payroll tax credits, which would have been available to business owners, as well as the Small Business Loan Administration. And so it was probably just wrapped up all into one, so it would be easier for one
Right.
bill to sail through Congress versus having these individual ones. And so that's why you saw a lot of back and forth over the last 3 or so weeks in reference to,
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure each senator, each rep was trying to make sure that different things were indeed included, because it needed to be
Mm-hmm.
kind of a wraparound for individuals and business owners.
Makes sense.
So
Because it was such a
that's the
bundle. It sounds
latest.
like it was all bundled together, so they had to decide what parts of
Yes,
that CARE Act that
yes,
they wanted to go ahead and implement. Is that kind of
that is correct. And I'll just briefly touch upon the expansion of the unemployment benefits. So
okay?
the proposal was that there would be on average an increase of about $600 per month on
Right.
top of whatever your state's maximum amount would be. And so again, each person's unemployment benefits would be based upon what their earnings were over a
Mm-hmm.
specific period of time. So they may go back to March of last year, or
Mm-hmm.
they could say, hey, we were looking at, based upon, I know with Texas, they look at a particular number of 4 quarters. So right now we are in April.
Right.
Texas Workforce Commission may actually look at the 4 quarters for the calendar year of 2019, or they could look at the last quarter of 2018 plus 3 quarters in 2019 to be able to calculate what that benefit would be and for
Gotcha.
how long you would be able to get it. So on a national level, the feds would be pushing down monies to the states to be able to help them to be able to fund, of course, unemployment claims, which would be
Mm-hmm.
coming through their individual departments of labor, or for us here in Texas, it would be through the Texas Workforce Commission. And so it's just a little bit of a boost. Of course, each state's amount, approval amounts are going to vary. And so you would
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to go ahead and check with your state if you believe that you may be eligible for unemployment benefits, to go ahead and check with your individual state's Department of Labor, or with here in Texas, the Texas Workforce Commission, so you can determine what would be the maximum rate amount. And then again, the proposal would be that on top of whatever your eligibility amount was on
Mm-hmm.
average, people would be able to get an extra $600 per month
Okay.
to be able to help them. I know it doesn't seem like it's a whole lot, but if in your particular case you were only eligible for $150,
Mm-hmm.
$150 plus $600 would definitely help
Yeah.
to make a big difference. Even if you could only put a portion of it towards, your mortgage, or a portion of it towards utilities and other necessities, food, and whatnot.
Exactly.
So yeah, so every bit helps, whatever you
Every
can
little
do.
bit helps. You know, I mean that
Absolutely.
that could be that's a car payment for a lot of
Yes.
people. You know,
Yes. And
so
insurance, and maintenance.
insurance. I mean, it could
Yes.
cover all of that. So
Yes.
that's very important. It's very
Yes.
important. So every little bit helps. So
Absolutely.
all right, all
Absolutely. It
right,
really does.
good.
So,
Now,
so if you'd like to, oh, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. We got a little
Okay.
feedback going on here. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was going to say was, if you'd like to, we can get into the portion of the CARES Act bill which covers the business payroll tax credit
Yes,
savings that could be
yes,
available to business owners.
yes. Let's do
Um,
that.
so, who's eligible to be able to get the payroll tax credits? Well, you have businesses, and there are some tax exempt organizations that have less than 500 employees, which most of us would definitely fall under that.
Right.
And so if you were required to pay emergency paid sick leave or emergency paid family and medical leave,
Mm-hmm.
then those are the types of folks that would be eligible to be able to claim this credit.
Okay.
Also, if you're self-employed, you can also get similar types of tax credits based upon your individual circumstances. So if you are indeed self-employed, and of course you were paying yourself as a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
self-employed individual, then you would be able to also take a look into what you would be paying yourself as well as the taxes. There are
Mm-hmm.
self-employed taxes, such as there is a self-employment tax, which you would be responsible for paying not only the employer share of it, but the
Right. Right.
employee share of it. And so typically, as a regular W-2 employee,
Mm-hmm.
your employer will actually deduct 7.65% in payroll taxes from your check.
Okay.
So it's comprised of Medicare tax, which is 1.45%, plus 6.2% in Social Security taxes. And so
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that, of course, on your W-2 that has recently
Right.
been issued. And so when you're self-employed, you have to pay what would have been deducted as the employer as well as
Right.
your fair share for the employee. So it's double. So
Yeah. That's
you
why
can
most
be,
people go ahead and incorporate.
yes, so they don't have to worry about those particular types of things. It's just a little bit
Right.
easier to be able to do. And so the credits can actually be taken anywhere between March 18th, which was when the CARES Act bill was passed,
Mm-hmm.
March 18th of 2020, and December 31st of this year.
Okay.
So if you qualify for that, then you can definitely begin to go ahead and take those credits. And so the way that the credits work is that as an employer, you are required to submit a what the IRS calls a Form 941. So that is a quarterly tax reporting, payroll tax reporting form. And so
Mm-hmm.
usually the employer's share is reported to the IRS on a quarterly basis, or it could be done even monthly if you choose to.
Right.
But anyway, if you say, for example, you typically had $8,000 worth of payroll taxes that you would have had to pay for that quarter,
Mm-hmm.
um, but you realized, hey, you know what? Based upon what these credits are, I I may be able to take a look and see. Well, wait a minute. My usual payment would have been 8,000, but I realized that I actually had 10,000 in total actual cost, if you will, for
Mm-hmm.
payroll taxes. Then, since your actual amount would exceed, pretty much whatever the calculated amount would have been, you may
Right.
be able to take a credit for that, so you wouldn't have to
Gotcha.
necessarily worry about paying the $2,000 difference, if you will.
Okay.
You may actually be able to just take that right off immediately. And there are multiple forms that kind of go on beyond that, that you would have to keep up with, making sure that you do that form. And then there's also a separate form that the IRS would require the employer to be able to retain. But it's an immediate tax savings because at least you don't have to worry about, my business is already a little bit slow and I have to worry
Right.
about immediately taking,
Right.
paying the government for this. And so, again, it gives you a little bit more flexibility and some realized savings right now. So it's
We all need
helpful
that.
to you. Absolutely. And
Well,
so for the pay, go ahead.
that's why we need somebody like you. I'm just thinking because, you're rattling off all these forms and it's like, that's why we need you or people should go to their CPA to help with this stuff right now. And I'm sure that you all are
Absolutely.
learning about all of this too, in the
Yes.
same time frame that we are. But I mean, you're the experts, so I'm telling you, ladies, don't try to do this on your own.
No, and the good thing is that there's so many of us that are beginning to have different webinars and different things
Yeah,
that are out there. At least you can say before you went to go speak with whoever that person is, I heard
right.
about this. Can you tell me more about it? Because from what I understand, I see this, and this. Tell me
Yes.
about that. So the better informed you are, the better equipped you can be to make sure that you're taking advantage of everything. And sometimes, quite honestly, you end up educating us about some things that we didn't know about. We're trying to stay as
Yeah.
informed as we can, plus be able to service you to the best of our ability.
You're
So
like, well,
sometimes
that
we're
was
all learning
good. That
together.
was good. Let
Yeah,
me write that down.
yeah. I'm just, hey, listen. Information is great, and the more you have, again, the better off that you are.
It's that
Um,
wisdom. We're here to help each other out, right?
Absolutely, Absolutely, yes. And so the first payroll tax credit that I mentioned was the paid sick leave credit. And
Yes.
so if you were required to pay for an employee's sick time, so this was actually just for an employee who was unable to work because they had to go into quarantine because of coronavirus,
Hmm.
or they had to self quarantine because they, thought that they may be exhibiting some of the symptoms. Then
Hmm.
the IRS will allow you to have up to a maximum of $5,110 per employee. Okay, so that would
Okay.
be during that time frame that I mentioned, March 18th through December 31st. You can only claim it for up to 10 days. So it would be $511 per day for 10 days for one single employee. So that's the
Okay.
5110 that I mentioned.
Uh-huh.
And so if you also had an employee who was actually caring for someone who had the coronavirus, they didn't, but they were required to stay at home, whether they were the caregiver,
Hmm.
whether they were helping to care for a child, a parent, a spouse, someone else who's in the household. Then
Okay.
in that case, then an employer can potentially go ahead and claim up to $2,000 for that employee. And so it would be $200 per day
Hmm.
for up to a maximum of 10 days. So the 511 per day is only if the employee themselves is sick
Okay.
for 10
Okay.
days. But if the employee is actually helping to care for someone else in the household or someone else who had to
Right.
be quarantined, then you can only claim $200 per day up to 10 days.
Got
So,
you.
that is definitely helpful to be able to do that. And again, the other good thing is that if you're also having to pay for health insurance on behalf of those
Hmm.
employees, you may be able to get a little bit of relief in reference to what you had to come out of pocket for, so the employer share of that. So,
Oh,
they
wow.
understand
Yeah.
it's more than just the payroll
Yes.
tax itself. They know that it is also some of the fringe benefits, that you're having to pay on behalf of those employees. And so that's definitely a great thing. The second portion of the payroll tax credit that I mentioned was child care.
Hmm.
So if an employee actually had to take leave because obviously the schools are closed, the daycares are closed,
Yes.
perhaps maybe you had someone who came into your home, or did some type of after school or after care type of care
Right.
for your child, but now everybody's at home, all of the grandchildren,
Everybody's there.
everybody is there. Well, the good thing is that um, employers who have to be able to, compensate their folks for being able
Right.
to take child care leave, then they would be able to also get a little bit of relief as well. So the
Hmm.
government will actually give up to 10 weeks of qualifying care, which is great, but
Okay.
the
10
max is
weeks.
up to 10 weeks if it's qualified. And so that would be a maximum of $10,000 for one employee during that time. And so, again, you just can't exceed over $200 per day
Hmm.
for the child care portion. And again, it would only be up to $10,000 total during that time. And so,
Okay.
again, it's costing everybody. Of course, it's costing the employee productivity. It's costing your company, the ability to be able to keep up with normal
Right.
operations. And so the feds get it. There's going to be so
Right.
many different scenarios that are out there. But if you are having to, fund employees, hey, this is a great way for you to be able to do this.
That's a
You
nice
know,
program. Yeah.
it is. It is. I mean, it's definitely helpful. And, a lot of people sometimes end up shying away because they're just not sure about what it's going to be. And I understand every program,
Uh-oh.
sometimes we have to, be able to keep moving and keep going. And sometimes this is what we have for right now. And
Right.
this is all that we can do. You know,
Right.
we're doing the best we can with what we have. And so, why leave anything on the table, especially if there may be, something that we can definitely claim. So, we definitely want to be able to take advantage of that, if at all possible, if you are indeed paying for employees and paying regular payroll taxes. Please take advantage. Please take
Wow.
advantage of that.
That's a nugget right there, that piece of it, Adina, because I'm sure that a lot of people don't know about that. We're hearing about just the big, SBA loan, or we're hearing about the unemployment, or also for those who are independent contractors. But that whole child care thing for small businesses,
Yes.
and the caregiver, that
Mhm.
that's a huge, huge, huge piece of this.
It is. It is. I mean, the thing is that, as much as many benefits that we do have as business owners, we still pay our fair share. A lot of people kind of
Yes.
ding us in reference to, well, y'all get all the write-offs and y'all get this. Well, the thing is that, truth be told, the majority of the American economy is made up of small businesses.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Corporations make up a very small component of the
Yes.
US economy. I think it's about 80% of the economy that's really made up of smaller businesses. And
Exactly.
so, if we are helping to generate jobs and we are helping to keep the money circulating and flowing, shouldn't we get a portion of
Amen, sister.
benefit? We should absolutely do that. So, yes, 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 yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I appreciate you telling us about all the stuff that's out there. I do want to back up a little bit. You were talking about a lot of this being based on people having their taxes done. They'll look at your 2018 taxes.
Yes.
So I'm going to throw this out there. What if somebody has not done their 2018 taxes? What if they're behind on their taxes? What do they need to do? Should they get caught up? Uh, how does that look?
Yes.
Will they go back to their 2017 taxes? So, if there's anybody out there, can you address that?
Sure, I can definitely do that. I would say now is the opportune time to get caught up on your taxes as soon as
Right.
possible.
Especially with the
Um, you
extension.
know, and yes, especially with the extension. And here's the thing, even if you owed previously, they're not going
Uh-huh.
to, because everything is so chaotic and haywire, they are not going to hold that against you. You
Yeah.
can still make arrangements as needed regarding,
Mm-hmm.
your payments. However, everyone pretty much is in the same type of boat. And so,
Sure.
as we get ready to actually speak about some of the SBA loan programs, you will actually need to make sure that you do have your tax return done,
Mm-hmm.
because you are authorizing on that application that it is okay for them to be able to pull the information.
Mm,
And so,
okay.
written into the CARES Act bill in reference to some of the eligibility
Okay. Talk about
for some
that.
of these programs, they are mentioning that 2018, and they understood because we are typically in the midst of the 2019 tax
Sure.
filing season right now.
Yeah.
But with the way that everything happened, they probably figured a lot of people probably didn't get a chance to go and file 2019 yet.
Right.
But if you have not done 2017, 2018, and 2019, this is an opportune time to be able to do that. And again, it's just to your betterment. That way, at least you know it's filed,
Right.
and you can prove, hey, I did definitely complete my information. Whether you e-file it or you needed to be able to do it paper, e-file is quick, of course.
Right.
And I'm going to give y'all a little secret: the IRS is behind. They don't have as many people as they typically do,
They're
and
working from
so
home
don't
like the
think
rest of us.
they're working from home like everybody else. And so it's going to take them
Woo.
time too. But guess what? You at least will have your proof that
Right.
you filed. And so, as you need to be able to provide supplemental documentation, at least you know it's available and you
Yes.
have it on hand and you got your proof, that you are
You have
good
your
to go.
confirmation
So,
number.
yes, yes, I
Yes.
would definitely recommend. You have your confirmation number? Absolutely. You have your confirmation number and you got your printout of your full tax return. So
That's
you
right.
are, definitely good to go on that. Yes,
All right.
yes.
Good. Good. All
Well,
right,
if
ladies.
you're if you're ready, would you like to get into the disaster loan program for
Yes,
SBA?
ma'am. Let's go. Let's go. I know that our ladies want to hear about that as well. So we want to give them everything they need so that they can just kind of dig
Okay.
in and take notes as they go back and review this video. If any of you guys out there have any questions after watching this information, post them in the comments there in the Facebook group, and we'll make sure that we get Adina to answer any of those questions for you. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're going to put it all there for you. Feel free to ask questions. All right, Adina, take it away, girlfriend.
Perfect. Well, under the SBA disaster loan program, there are actually two programs that are available. The
Okay.
first one is the economic Injury Disaster Loan. So it's abbreviated EIDL. So again, that's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Okay.
This particular loan is credit based. So if you know that you do have a good credit score and you wanted to be able to take out monies to be able to do that, the good thing is that based on credit, literally all they're doing is running your credit score. They are working with banks in reference to that, and your approval is very fast.
So that's the one that all these
So
banks are scurrying around for, right? Because a lot of business people.
they're doing actually both the economic injury disaster loan as well as the other one, the
Okay.
paycheck protection loan program as well.
Okay.
So I'll just briefly just go over the CARE Act, and then we'll go the CARE paycheck protection loan program, which is the second one. Um, that is not credit based. So this is where the SBA loan is actually working hand in hand with about 1,800 currently, about 1,800 local lenders. And so there will be different banks in your area that will be helping to disperse the SBA loan proceeds.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can go ahead and get into the economic injury disaster loan
Yes.
first, and then we'll
Yes.
get into the paycheck protection
Perfect.
program. So for the economic injury disaster loan, this is available to small businesses, 1099 independent contractors. So if you're gig or self-employed, that would definitely be you. Or if you receive a 1099 from working contract with another company, then you would be eligible for this. If you're a sole proprietor, if you have a co-op, or even some different types of nonprofits, you can definitely be eligible to apply for that loan.
Okay.
But the caveat is that even though this is credit based, on the actual application for this economic injury disaster loan, you are authorizing the SBA to review your tax returns. So that's why it's very, very important for you to go ahead and get them done, because there's going to be a portion on the application where you are actually authorizing them to take a look at your IRS tax transcript. Okay. And so if it's not available, that's when you can just go ahead and upload your completed copy of your tax return once it's done. And that way you can get that together. With this particular loan program, you had to have been in business by January 31st of 2020.
Okay.
So you can be a very, very new business owner and still apply for this. So that is great. Right. Again, this is based upon your credit score, but guess what? Even if you had a prior bankruptcy, it is okay.
Wow.
It does not knock you out of qualification. So that is a good thing. And so again, as I mentioned to you before, it's a relatively quick approval process, and this is up to a $10 billion program just for this one. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about the loan terms. So for the economic injury disaster loan, the loans are up to $2 million. And if you are a for-profit company, then the interest rate would be 3.75%, which is relatively still low. And then if you are a nonprofit, the interest rate would be 2.75%.
Okay.
So for this particular loan, it's a 30-year term repayment, and the initial payment can be deferred up to 12 months after your promissory note. So let's say that you end up getting approved as of May 1st. You may not have to make your first loan payment until either April 30th of 2021 or May 1st of 2021.
Wow.
So that's really not a bad deal.
No,
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful thing right there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Some other just quick details you may want to know is that if the loan is less than $200,000, the good thing is that you can get an approval without you having to sign a personal guarantee. And so usually personal guarantees come with some business loans because they want to know that even if your business is not doing well, then you are guaranteeing that you're going to find a way to be able to pay for the loan through your own personal assets, through your own checking or whatever means that you would have personally. For loans that are less than $25,000, typically they are looking for some type of general security interest in other business assets, not necessarily in your real estate. So if you do own your building, or if you own land that you use to be able to, conduct your business, then they're just looking for a smaller general security interest just in the business assets.
Gotcha.
Business assets can be anything, including if you have vans, if you have cars, if you have computer equipment, something like that. So they're going to want to see something, in regards to that. This is what a lot of people have been making the big run on, if you will. Small business owners can apply for that $10,000 emergency grant.
Right.
And so that's what everybody's kind of making the run on. And so
gold rush.
Yes, absolutely. And so this is a $10,000 emergency grant that can potentially be granted to the applicant within 3 days after you submit the application. And so literally it's an advance that can be forgiven if you spend it on the majority of it on payroll. So you can use it towards that paid leave that I mentioned before. You can use it on just being able to maintain your number of employees that you have.
Okay.
If you happen to have an increase, if you were actually selling goods and services and you've now realized that my suppliers are now killing me because my supply chain costs are going up, you can use some of those monies towards that. And then of course, any mortgage or rent payments that you had to kind of make up because you've lost some of your revenue. So again, as long as the majority of those funds are really being paid towards payroll, you would definitely be great, and that would definitely be a forgivable thing. And so if you would like to be able to apply for those loans, you can apply at www.sba.gov/disaster. And so you'll definitely see that information. And again, what we spoke about was just the economic injury disaster loan. Okay.
Okay.
And
put that in
and then the second loan program that we were speaking about, it's the CARE Act Paycheck Protection Program Loan Guarantee. So you can consider it triple P, if you will. So the Paycheck Protection Program is what we're speaking about.
Triple P.
Triple P. And so who's eligible to apply for this? Well, you have sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed people, small businesses. You could be a small agricultural co-op. You could be a small business that may be dealing with aquaculture. So you may be doing things in reference to fishing or marine life, that type of thing. You can also be a private nonprofit organization with less than 500 employees. So kind of similar to the first program. But in this case, you would have had to be in business by February 15th of 2020. So even sooner. So you could be in business a little bit later than the other program. The other program required you to be in business by the end of January of 2020. Whereas in this case, you could have just started your business in February. So February, if you would have been in business by February 15th, 2 months ago, you can apply. And so you would literally go through applying through an SBA approved lender. And so the funds, these particular funds for the Paycheck Protection Program would be available through June 30th. Okay, so right now, as of this recording date, we are actually at April 6th. Okay, so these funds are only available through June 30th of 2020.
All right, so if you fall within that group, you got to get on it, right?
Yes. Get on it, please. Whereas with the other program, with the economic injury disaster loan, those funds would actually be available through the end of December. But you don't want to wait. Please don't wait. Whatever you can do to put yourself in the running, let's go ahead and do that.
Yes.
So for the Triple P program, the loan maximum, instead of being $2 million, is up to $10 million, or 2.5 times whatever your average payroll monthly costs are.
Okay.
So literally they would be looking at, the average of what you're paying out monthly in payroll costs, and you can multiply that times 2.5. Okay. And literally that would be able to tell you, give you a gauge of what you may be able to get from that program. With the interest rate, this is a great interest rate. It's 1%.
Wow. That's
1%. Now, the thing is that the loan repayment period is only for 2 years versus 30 years, okay? But the good thing is that your first payment could be deferred between 6 to 12 months. So
okay.
don't feel like it's immediate pressure to be able to repay it, but just know that when you go into repayment, it's going to be
Mhm.
2 years, and potentially you may not, if you end up being approved, say in May, then you may not have to make that first payment until potentially November, if
Right.
not sometime in 2021.
Right.
Now, here's the good thing. If you end up using the loan, and up to 100% of this loan can be forgiven.
Hmm.
So let's say that, based upon that calculation, that, you ended up multiplying out your monthly payroll cost, and you ended up multiplying that times 2.5. Um,
Okay.
so let's say that they ended up giving you a loan for $80,000. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
This loan can be forgiven if you spend the money within 8 weeks, which I don't
Eight
think will be a
weeks.
problem for most people in 8 weeks. I
Everybody's
don't
like,
think that's
try
going to be a
me.
problem for people. Right here. Sign me up, please, ma'am,
Try
right
me.
now. So, but here's the thing: the if it can be forgiven if it's used within 8 weeks, and if it's used on payroll, at least 75% on payroll, and then the remainder you can use on rent, mortgage, or utilities. I
Okay.
think we could find a way to make sure that that is done.
I think
Don't you agree?
so.
I can see some
I
heads
think
nodding
so. I
out there.
think that we
Yes.
can get
I
creative on
think,
some things.
I'm not saying any type of fraud, but I'm just saying I believe that between benefits and payroll costs and leave costs and all of this
Yes.
other stuff, I think that you would probably be able to pay for that in 2 months.
Right, right. Now, what
I'm
about
think,
women who, what about the people though, Adina, who they might have one employee?
mhm.
Their costs aren't going to be as much. So,
Their
are
costs
they
won't
eligible for
necessarily.
this? Are they more eligible for the other one? I mean, let's talk about some of these ladies who they're more like consultants or, you know,
Mhm.
CPAs or coaches. They are the business. So,
Well, let me share something with you in reference to one of my clients. He
okay,
decided to apply for the Triple P program,
okay,
and it's primarily himself, and so he is the owner of an LLC.
okay,
But he does actually obviously pay himself out of the business, but all
right,
of his employees are contractors. So
correct.
he does have people that are, say, software developers. He does have
Right,
people that function as a virtual CFO for him. He does have
right.
someone else who is a chief operating officer who, does fill in some of the blanks, a chief marketing officer, a chief technology officer. That
Mm-hmm.
is perfectly okay. All
Okay.
you need to make sure to do is that you do create a spreadsheet, if you will, which would be easy enough to be able to do and say, listen, I can include myself in
Mm-hmm.
this, plus any
Mm-hmm.
contractors that I am regularly paying to be able to help me to do the business that I'm in. You can still do that. And again, that infusion of cash is still going to be helpful to you.
For that.
But the thing is that with the first program, with the economic injury disaster loan program, if you don't believe that your credit is at a decent place, this would be a great alternative for you.
Okay. Okay. So what would be a decent? What would be decent? Now that we're talking about that,
Um,
have they
the the
said?
the SBA has not really said so far. I would imagine that they may end up using some of the same type of guidelines that may be used, especially in reference to uh, being able to be approved for a mortgage. There may be different
Okay.
lenders that may, look at you if you at least have a 620,
Right.
credit score.
Right.
I
Right.
can't say that that is exactly the score that they're going to use, but that would be a pretty fair one, I guess
Right.
you could say. But just keep that, in mind. And the
Okay.
thing is that if you find out that you're immediately turned down for that loan, guess what?
Go
Come
for
on
the
and
other.
apply for the triple P.
That's right.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and
What's
do
that?
that.
Ease on down the road. Ease
Ease
on
on
down the
down the
road,
road.
ladies. Let's go.
Listen, shake the dust off your feet. Keep
That's
it
right.
moving. Yes,
Because
yes.
that's what we do. That's what we do as women who are
Absolutely. And
resilient.
so, yes, listen, we cannot leave any stone unturned at this point. Let's just go ahead and make sure we keep it moving to the best of our ability. But
Yes.
listen, ladies, like I was mentioning before in reference to the tax returns, for this particular program,
Uh-huh.
again, you're consenting to allowing the SBA to see your tax transcripts.
Right.
And so when my client ended up applying for these loans, they were actually looking for both his personal and business.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to see both. So they were looking for 2017, 2018, and 2019 tax year returns. Okay. So you definitely want to know that. And here's the thing. If you are applying as the business owner, and if you may actually have a multiple owners in that business. So
Okay.
perhaps you are the majority owner, but you may have an
Mm-hmm.
owner that owns 20% or more of your business. They're going to want to see their tax returns too.
Okay.
So that's only if there's another owner and they own at least 20% or more of the company.
Okay. They own 15, doesn't
Perhaps
matter. Okay.
15 doesn't matter, but if it's 20% or more, they're going to want to see the additional tax returns of those owners.
Okay.
Now, let's say that you formed a limited liability partnership or you have a general partnership, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to want to see each general partner, or if you have a managing member, say you're an LLC and you have a managing member and then you may have another member that's a part, they're going to want to see those as well, those tax
Okay.
returns as well.
Okay.
Perhaps maybe you may have an affiliate business, meaning you have a business that is a subsidiary. You may have a business that is a parent company. They're
Right.
going to want to see all of those affiliate tax returns.
Right.
If there's an owner that has over 50% interest in the affiliate. Okay.
Got
So
you.
I'll go back over that one more time. So if you have a business that has more than one owner, and if
Mm-hmm.
the other owner owns at least 20% or more, they're going to want to
Okay.
see that other owner's tax returns. If you have a business that consists of a partnership,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to want to see each general partner's tax return
Got you.
and the managing member's tax return. And then if you have an affiliate, if the owner owns at least 50% or more of the
Mm-hmm.
affiliate, they're going to want to see each affiliate owner's tax return. So again, that's parent
Right.
companies, subsidiaries, or any other businesses that have common ownership. So if you have kind of
Right.
like that, an umbrella holding company, if you will, and
Yes.
then you have subsidiaries that are under each of that,
Yes.
that's the type of stuff that they're going to want to see.
Because that
Just,
happens a lot.
it happens a
Because
lot.
if you do have that parent company, you have your subsidiaries or your children, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, but I know a
Yes.
lot of people they have the subsidiaries, Adina, but they also do uh, file all of their taxes under the parent company. So,
Right.
right.
And if that's the case, that's okay. It just gets a little more complicated when you end up having multiple owners or you have multiple
But if it's just
partners.
one
And so they just
person,
want to
it's
be able
easier.
to see. If it's
Okay.
one person, it's easier. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much
Okay.
easier.
Okay. Okay.
So it's typically about 3 or 4 different things that you want to have on hand when you get ready to apply in reference to your supplemental documentation. So
Okay.
you want to make sure that you have your taxes filed. If they haven't been filed yet, no problem. Take time now to see if you can go ahead and get them filed. The other thing that they're going to want to see is it's just a personal finance statement. They just want to know, hey, listen, these are my current assets. These are my current liabilities. It's just a personal statement of what you have. The other information that you may need to have on file is that if you don't have your tax returns complete at the time that you're submitting the application, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But just know that they may hold your application for processing until they get
Got
it.
you.
But one thing that you can do is that you can give them a year-end profit and loss statement. So if
Okay.
you have your accounting books up to date, and if you're using
Right.
a calendar year,
Right.
then you can at least go ahead and submit that calendar year profit and loss statement, and then go ahead and do another profit and loss statement from January 1st of 2020 to whatever current date that you decide to submit the application. Because at
Okay.
least that will give them a little bit of cushion. They know that you're a legitimate business.
And they know
They know
you're
that you're trying to
legitimate,
keep up.
right? Yeah.
Right. They know that you're trying to keep up with
Yeah.
your information. And again, we know that everybody, sometimes a lot of people wait until October to be able to file because of the late tax extension. But this is
Right.
giving you some great incentive to be able to get them done a little bit earlier so you can make sure
Exactly.
that you're helping your business continue to go on. And the
Right.
last thing that they will probably be looking for is just a schedule of your business liability. So any type of fixed debts that you may have.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you may have financed some equipment and you may have a note that's payable.
Mm-hmm.
If you have definitely taken out a mortgage for your business brick and mortar, then they're going
Okay.
to want to go ahead and see, what is that. If you have they may not necessarily ask specifically for any type of business credit card debt, but just
Mm-hmm.
be mindful that these are the
Right.
types of things that they may be looking for. And then also they may just ask you to provide them just with a little bit of a sales projection of what you thought your monthly figures would have been for 2020. So
Okay.
that is, you can definitely anticipate. You can even use the figures that you really thought that you may have been making, for
Mm-hmm.
2020. Of course, you had no control over what
Right.
happened with this economic disaster, but just provide them with the information and they can see, hey, I really was expecting to be able to have some sales pick up,
Right.
during these months, and maybe they may level out during other parts of the year, but that's okay. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted you to be aware that there are usually some supplemental documents that go along with the loan process, so you don't have to worry about scrambling and saying, well, shoot, I
Right.
did the application, but I didn't know that they were going to ask me for all of this stuff.
Right.
Just be prepared and be aware. And if you don't have the help, available, Lisa knows that one of the other things that I do as well is not only the tax planning, but I can also help in reference to tax preparation. And then if you
Right.
you may need some help in reference to being able to kind of clean up your accounting system and make sure that you do have some clean financials. We can also help you with that as well. So
Now's the time to scrub, scrub, scrub and get
yes,
everything
ma'am,
cleaned
please.
up, ladies.
Yes, yes, please. And I know, listen, I
It's time for a
empathize with.
do-over.
Yes, exactly. It's time for literally a hard reset,
A
and
hard
that is
reset.
okay.
Yeah.
That is perfectly okay. And listen, please don't feel like you're in it by yourself. And listen, one of the best sayings that I ever heard is this: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a
One bite at
time.
a time.
One bite at a time. And so here's the thing: perhaps you could take one day to be able to just download the application. You can just
Mm-hmm.
review it and say, well, listen, I just wanted to be able to get familiar with it. I just wanted to be able to know what I need. Perhaps you can take another day to be able to
That's
compile
right.
your tax documentation. Another day, you can go ahead and take a look at your profit and loss statement. If it's already ready, great. Just click print, and maybe you can print it to PDF, and that way
Right.
it's available that you can just go ahead and download it. Or if you just wanted to be able to review it and just make sure that you didn't leave anything off of it, perfect
Right.
time to do so right now. And so don't feel like everything's got to be done in one day. Rome was not built in one
You know
day.
that's
And,
right.
we know that this
Exactly.
process is not going to be done in one day either. So just see if you can self-pace yourself. Don't add to any extra stress. This is a
Mm-hmm.
means to be able to help
Mm-hmm.
you. So just again, even there's nothing wrong with saying I need a little bit of help. You can even get a friend, someone else in the family, and if not, again, I'm available, and then there are other folks that are available as well that may be able to kind of coach you through some of the other things that you may need to
Yes.
provide and just have on
Yes.
hand. So please don't feel like you have to be overwhelmed. Take a little bit every day and you're going to get to the finish line, I promise you.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's that, like you said, the whole thing of eat it one bite at a time. The way to eat that elephant is one bite
One,
at a time. Adina, eat a toad a day.
one bite at a time.
Take a bite of
Yes, absolutely.
the ear the next day until you have the entire
Yeah,
thing gone. That's one of
absolutely.
my favorite proverbs. I totally agree with you on that. And this is a huge elephant. It can be eaten. Absolutely. And just, ladies, just make sure that you get the help that you need. You don't have to do it on your own. We're here to support each other. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring Adina on today, is to let you guys know that you have somebody out there that's in your corner. We here at Take Flight, we're in your corner. We want to bring you the resources that you need to uh, to make it through this time. It's a very trying time for everybody, and if we can help to make it a little bit easier for you, we'll do that. And we're gonna be bringing on guests such as Adina, to help with this period. So, Adina, you have anything else you want to share with the ladies before we let you go?
Yes, just know that I am definitely out there and I'm with you. I am also a smaller business owner as well. So, I am definitely here with you. I am here to support. I have also made myself available for some virtual coffee chats, if you will, no obligation. But
Nice.
sometimes there's just different things that you feel like you can't talk to everyone because they don't understand the business journey. I get it. And so,
Right.
if you would like to be able to follow up with me in reference to either the SBA loan disaster program, again, definitely welcome you to be able to post in the comments. If you would be interested in a virtual coffee chat, you can definitely visit my website,
Mm-hmm.
which is www.fortitude, Fortitude, F as in Frank, I as in information, N as in Nancy, C as in cat.com. So fortitudethink.com. And so if you
Great.
visit the main home page, you can scroll down to the bottom of the page, and that's where my electronic calendar is. And so we can, just go ahead and book something then. And if you, had some other questions and concerns, beyond that, or if you may need tax help, I'm glad to be able to help you with that as well. And just wanted to encourage you. We will all get through this together.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I believe that sooner is coming. The thing is that again, just be abreast of as much as you can, and please don't drive yourself crazy by watching the news all
Yes.
the time. It is definitely time. Let me be your business cheerleader. It is definitely time for you to be able to get out there. Please don't think that no one wants to buy your products and services, because they
Mm-hmm.
do. They
Mm-hmm.
definitely do. There's still a demand out there. It just seems like everything's come to a complete halt. But someone out there needs you. They want you. They want your expertise. They want your products and services. And so
That's
I just
right.
want to encourage you to continue to keep active in the Take Flight Facebook group, as well as any other groups that you're a part of, and make sure that we keep the monies flowing. We need to make sure that
Yes,
these
ma'am.
dollars keep circulating, because the quicker that they circulate, the quicker that the economy can come back faster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen to everything you said, Adina. And, people are out there that still need your message. They still need your services. And, this is a time to really look at the positive in this. How long have you ladies, some of us been sitting around going, I wish I had time to write that book. I wish I had time to get that online course up, wish I had time, to put together, you know, a podcast. I wish I had time, just to do anything. Now's the time. Now's the time to really um, tap into all of your gifts, the ones that you've been wanting to explore, and the ones that you already have shared with the world, but that you can probably just take to the next level. So, this is the blessing in this. Let's look at the blessing. You know, some of you might say, I wish I had time to make some phone calls to people. We text too much. People text too much these days. Let's take time to pick up the phone and talk in it. Right? What a concept. Let's talk in the phone instead of typing in the phone to each
Mm,
other and check on each other, right? So let's go
absolutely.
back to old school ways. Let's go back to, if you've been looking for time to reach out to a friend, send a friend a note. There's nothing like getting an old fashioned handwritten "I'm thinking about you" note in the mail.
Mm,
So take time to do that, because as this is showing us, we don't know when life is going to change on us, and life is short. We're seeing a lot of people lose loved ones, and so let's just not take it for granted. So let's make good use of this time. And one of the ways that we're going to do that here at Take Flight is we're going to bring you people like Adina and some of our other awesome, awesome women that are going to fill the space for you here, and pour some knowledge into you. Some of the other things we're going to be doing, and because we're not able to do our live events right now, but I can guarantee you that when we do get back to doing our live events, which we're going to be doing mini summits, I can guarantee you that Adina is going to be on our stage. So,
I, I
so
will be there.
she will be in the actual live room. So you'll be able to meet her one day soon. So, um, until the next time. Oh, one other thing that we're going to be doing, and I want to share this with you, Adina. I think I told you about this, but we want to keep everybody plugged in and encouraged, and continue to build that community, during this time. So we're going to look at doing what we call Zoomspirations weekly, and it'll either be on a Wednesday or a Friday, but it will be weekly moving forward. And that's just going to be a space, and we'll put it up on the Facebook group as well with the link. But that's going to be a space where you come and you show up, and if you want to come and do a spoken word for the group, if you want to come and read a passage from a book, if you want to come and sing a song, if you want to come and play the bongos, if you want to play the guitar, if you want to sing a cappella, whatever, just bring your gift, bring some type of inspiration for the ladies that are going to be on the Zoom inspiration, and let's just hold each other up as we move forward. So, and just know that I'm here for you. Uh, you have the way to reach out to me on Facebook, in the direct messaging, or just post something in the feed. But I'm here for you. The rest of the Take Flight team is here for you. We love you. We're praying for you. We appreciate you. And we look forward to growing with you as we move forward. We look forward to having you take flight with us. Um, Adina, thank you again
Thank
so much
you.
for being here today, sis.
I appreciate it. Glad to be able to serve.
Yes, let's just take a deep breath, girl. Let's all take a deep breath together. We will get through this together, you guys. One more thing I do want to do. I do want to share an app with you that has really helped me, not only during this time, but also previous. I have different rituals and things that I do. And one thing I do is I listen to an app called Calm. So I'll share that with you real quick if you haven't seen this. I would highly recommend that you load this on your phone. It's a good way to keep you calm and feed your spirit, but it has different breathing. Hold that up there. Can you see that? It's an app that you put on your phone. It's called Calm, Calm, and it has different breathing exercises. It has different meditations that you can do. Um, Different, nice noise like nature and water, and it's just a very soothing app, and that's what we need right now as we move forward. So I will put that in the feed as well. And if you all have any apps that you like, please put those in the feed so that we can keep encouraging each other, okay, and helping each other with the different resources that are out there to keep calm during this time. So, uh, with that, I'm going to sign off, and I want to thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions for Adina, put them in the feed, and I'll also make sure that we do load her information there. She's here. She's a resource for you. Take advantage of it. So, all right, there was a lot of information today. Dig through it and know that we're here moving forward. Until next time, I want you guys to, like I said, take care of yourself, be blessed, and we'll be checking back in later on this week with our first Zoom inspiration. And we actually have Donnie, who is going to share with us about change. So she's going to be one of our first guests on the Zoom inspiration. She's going to talk about change, especially change in a time like this. So you don't want to miss that. So until next time, you guys be blessed. Adina, take care of yourself. Be blessed, sister.
Thank you.
And
You as well.
thank you. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.